Hello guys, and happy Friday again. I'm so happy that I'm returning back to Friday videos. So in today's video, obviously a lot of you guys will know that we actually ended up having our wedding take place in early September. So you may already know that we actually had our registry office back in June, and then we actually had to move our church and reception to September just because of things like restrictions and the pandemic and all of that stuff. I'm sure you guys will know. So what we actually wanted to do today is actually talk through the key learnings about our wedding, obviously talking about, you know, our finances and what happened with our money and things that maybe went well and things that maybe didn't go so well and some of the mistakes we probably made. And then in next week's video we're actually going to be talking through our wedding budget. So I am going to be walking through every single thing that we spent when it came to our wedding, because I know some of you guys were asking for that. So don't worry, it is coming there soon. Just make sure you are subscribed to my channel so that you don't miss out. But I think what we're going to do is, first of all, I'm going to introduce my husband again in case you don't know him. So
what's good, people? My name is Yinka, this lovely lady's husband. That is all.
Okay, let's just get started. Okay, so first of all, I do want to talk about things that we think maybe went well when it came to planning our wedding. So if you guys don't already know, we actually have a video where we talked about how we saved for our wedding. So if you haven't watched that video, definitely check it out, because we do give some good tips, I would say, just in terms of saving and budgeting for your wedding. So I will link that up here for you and in the description below. But I do want to just talk through some of the key things that maybe went really well, or the things that we think went well when it came to our wedding. So is there anything you think we did particularly well with just planning everything?
The B word, budget. Your favorite word. Yeah, we had a budget that we stuck to, which was the most important thing. It was realistic, I think. Actually, tell a lie, when we first started it wasn't realistic. We were just putting prices all over the place, and unrealistic prices for different things such as videography, photography, catering, etc.
Because we wanted everything to be cheap, so we kind of put like the lowest cost ever, and then I think people just went to us and just went, you're crazy if you think you're gonna pay for that,
basically. Yeah, with
that price. Yeah,
but after a while it was more realistic, so towards the end everything was realistic, and we actually stuck within budget for pretty much everything. The only thing that wasn't within budget was catering, but that was kind of to be expected. But because we stuck within budget for everything else, we had money left over to move to that, so that was cool.
Yeah, so I think in total we did still end up spending 15 grand
I think even less.
The whole wedding. Yeah,
closer to 14.
Yeah, around 14 to 15. I would say though that we actually were quite strategic in terms of what we would pay for. So we did have family kind of chipping in for some extra stuff like wedding favors. Honestly, we didn't really care about that. We were just gonna go on Asda and get those little boxes and put some sweets in it. But my mum was a little bit extra and ended up getting like these custom made bags, which actually weren't very expensive anyway, because she actually ended up making them in Nigeria. So
we should show them.
Yeah, we should show them actually. Do you want to get the bags? Yeah, so shout out to my mum, because she made these Veronia and Yinka bags with some of the photos that we had from our engagement shoot, and it came with a custom fan. So you can see it says, I think it says Yinka weds Veronia and the date, and it says thank you for coming. So this was a little custom fan. It also came with a key ring, and fun fact with the key ring, they actually spelt my name wrong when they first did it, and they printed out all of these key rings and it actually said Veronica instead of Veronia, so they had to go and get it all done again, but it still looks really good. And it also came with a magnet. So as you can see, my mum is very extra when it comes to things like this, but I am her oldest daughter, so she was very excited. And I think that was it. I think these were probably the main three, and I think your auntie sort of gave like flannels.
They look like dogs.
Yeah. Yeah, but it was pretty cheap actually, because again she did it in Nigeria, so it meant that she didn't actually have to pay very much for that. And if you're liking this video so far, then feel free to give us a thumbs up, as it really does help to support the channel, plus
it's free.
So the next thing I think we did well was just in terms of, I guess, cutting costs whenever we could. So do you want to just talk about some of the costs that we were able to cut quite drastically actually, which is great.
So first one was drinks. Drinks was a really big one. We budgeted about 1,500 for drinks. We saved a lot of money there actually, because Veronia's parents helped out with the spirits, and so that was a huge cost saving for us. And then Veronia's cousin helped us with some of the drinks, but also more than that, hooked us up with a wholesaler to help us buy drinks in bulk so that we wouldn't have to buy it in supermarkets and stuff like that. So as I said, we budgeted 1,500 for it, but actually ended up spending probably around 600. So we saved quite a big saving in the drinks itself. Another one was the cake. The cake was a big one. That's me and Verania. Cake isn't a huge deal for us, but luckily Verania's uncle is a caterer and he hooked us up with a beautiful cake. It tasted amazing and it looked great as well. So we saved probably around £400 on that because that's how much we budgeted for it. Anything else?
So the next thing were probably flowers. So first off, we were gonna get bridesmaid flowers from AliExpress. So Yinka had sort of looked online.
I sourced it.
Yeah, so we saw some flowers and then when they came they were just a bit too small. So should we show them?
Yeah.
I'll get this one. So these were going to be the bridesmaids flowers. I felt that they were just a bit too small. So rather than waste them, what we actually said is we will use these as the centerpieces. Well, some of the centerpieces we have on the table. And so they actually looked really nice on the table, which was great. But what we did is I actually asked my mum, because she works in Nigeria. So I asked her, could she maybe go to one of the markets and see if she could maybe find some bridesmaids flowers? And she actually did. So if I take out the flower here, so these were the bridesmaids flowers, so they're a lot bigger, I'd say, compared to the ones you sourced from AliExpress. And they actually ended up making these. They are fake flowers, but they actually ended up making these, and our color theme was blue, silver and grey. Yeah, so what they did is they actually put some silver in here, and they also had like the blue and white flowers, and these were really, really cheap because we outsourced them from Nigeria. I think they ended up being like £1 each, so very cheap, and it meant that we actually managed to cut costs there as well. In terms of my own personal flowers, so I actually did have fresh flowers, but what we realized is whenever we would go, particularly my sister would try and source the flowers for me, yeah, when she would go and ask about wedding bouquets, they would give like a ridiculous price, like more than £100, I would say. What she realized is that they basically just tie the flowers together and they put like a nice bow, and then they basically call that the bouquet and then give it to you and just up the price. So I actually ordered some flowers from John Lewis. I think it was about £36. Yeah, about £36 I ended up spending for that and delivery, and I basically ordered it for a couple of days before to deliver to my sister's house. And so then she actually then bought the ribbons. I think she got it from like Hobbycraft or something. So she actually did the bouquet for me and put like some glitter stuff in the flowers. We did actually have to get a couple more flowers just from one of the shops because some of the flowers ended up dying from John Lewis, and we weren't particularly happy, and I think they started dying like the next day. So I did go back to John Lewis and say, look, my flowers have died, this is supposed to be from my wedding, and they ended up refunding the whole thing. So I think that was really, really useful, and obviously it meant that we cut a lot of costs there because I think we originally budgeted like £200 maybe for flowers, for all the flowers, and we did not end up spending that at all. So that was really great. The other thing that I think we cut costs was particularly for myself, and that was probably makeup. So I went around trying to see like how much makeup artists charge, and the prices I saw were, it was just too much. Like I just did not want to pay that. Like I'm talking about like at least £200 just for you to try the makeup, and that's before you even think about the wedding day, and it was like another £500 to £1,000 just for you to actually do your makeup on the wedding day. And I was like, I'm not paying £1,000 just for me to have my makeup there. So for me, I actually have a bridesmaid where she actually does makeup. So she usually does makeup on her own. So shout out to Alana. So she's got her own Instagram page where she does her own makeup and she experiments with that, but she'd never done makeup, you know, for other people. It's not something that she'd thought about. And I kind of just said, well, why don't you try with me, and you can almost put me as like a portfolio just to start, I guess, seeing if that's something that you want to do. And she was obviously quite nervous, I'd say, with that at first, but what we did is we did a few trials. She came to my engagement and she tried it out, and the makeup looked absolutely amazing, and so she ended up doing that on the wedding day. And so what I did is I actually bought the makeup. So I asked her, you know, what makeup do you want me to buy so that you can make sure, you know, you give the best results possible. I bought that makeup, and I think that then came to about £75, I would say, 75 to 100. but what it meant was that I can then actually use that makeup going forwards, and I can keep it rather than actually paying for a makeup artist and then literally just having it done for the day and then that's it. So she actually ended up doing my makeup, and I think it looked amazing, and I got a lot of compliments for that. So yeah, I think we cut costs quite drastically there, which was great.
Yeah, she did a great job.
Yeah. Okay, so I think there's probably one other thing that we did particularly well. So do you want to talk about that?
Yes, we asked for monetary gifts, not because we're greedy people. As you guys know, we got married in June, so we'd already moved into a place and pretty much furnished everything ourselves. The only kind of gift that made sense was more monetary gifts so that we can use that in any way that we wanted. So we asked for bank transfers, cash, checks, and that's what we got.
Yeah, and it was quite useful because it meant that people gifted us in different ways. So for example, my cousin ended up, rather than, you know, giving us like a gift for the house, he ended up paying for some of the drinks for us. And like my other cousin, she actually ended up paying for like my hair to get done on the wedding day, so I didn't have to pay for that. And actually some of the gifts we were able to buy new hair actually, which was great. So not you, I was able to buy new hair. Yeah, so I think that was just really useful, and it just meant that we were able to actually use those presents, because I think what we were just worried about is just getting a whole load of different Mr. and Mrs. cups and towels and things like that, which we probably won't end up using. Whereas because we were able to get monetary gifts, it was really good for us to actually utilize that, not only for the wedding, but just other things in general for the future as well. I didn't really want to talk about this because it's actually really embarrassing. Like, I think if you guys watch my live, I think it was my last live that I did mention that there was something that went wrong during the wedding planning process. So guys, if you did enjoy this video, then please do give us a thumbs up if you haven't already. I do post every Tuesday and Friday, so if you would like to know more, then of course you can subscribe to my channel, and I will see you guys on Tuesday.
Adios.